All right, so I don't blame him for that part of it. Let's start with that. Should it make any difference that it happens to be the owner of the Suns? He's a brand new owner, right? So, I mean, if that's, Mark Cuban sitting there, everybody knows who he is. Matt Ishbia has owned the Suns for, 6 weeks now? Or whatever it is. Should it make any difference? Will it make any difference as the NBA considers this, that happens to be the owner and not just any other fan?
I don't know. This is unprecedented. Now, what will likely happen here is the NBA will do an investigation. What does that mean? It means they'll talk to Jokic and talk to Ishbia. Typically, you wouldn't talk to the fan. So that's the thing. He's not really a fan. He's a member of the organization. So in talking to folks last night, I will say two things. One, it was pointed out to me very clearly in the rule book, this is a commissioner level decision. It says right there, the discretion of the commissioner, what to do. So after the investigation, it will land on Adam Silver's desk. Secondly, the feel was last night, if anything, it's a fine. Mm-hmm. There was not a strong call, even from the Phoenix side, for suspension.
Look, I'm looking at it here. I understand Ishbia is holding on to the ball. Now, It looks like he's trying to help his own player up, right? I mean, that the guy lying on the ground works for him. And so he's trying to help him up. He's holding the ball. Jokic unquestionably shoves him with the elbow. I don't mean to say this was a violent act, but he does unquestionably make contact. Ishbia may have sold it a little bit. He was a walk-on point guard at one time at Michigan State. I could see this being a suspension. I will not be shocked if they wind up suspending him. I mean, that is a fan sitting there. History goes into these things. They suspended Draymond Green for yelling at fans 2 weeks ago. This is a player who, look at the left arm. He unquestionably shoves the fan. If I was
Jokic's defense attorney, I would say that Ishbia comes into his space.
And also should have let the ball go. Like, if Ishbia doesn't resist giving up the basketball, this is not a thing.
It's just so interesting, the little strategy here. The reason Jokic wants the ball is if Koji is laying in the crowd, he wants a 5-on-4. And I think the reason Ishbia doesn't want to give it up, and the reason he's holding it, is to let his guy get up.
Right.
So we actually have some strategy that's going on, and it resulted in 1 point for the Nuggets that the owner basically got them by flopping. And in the tight series, this kind of stuff actually really matters.
So we are expecting today to hear from the NBA.
Today because the game is tomorrow. So I would expect the investigation to take place during the day today. Remember, it's 3 hours out there. There's travel involved. But I would expect us to get some resolution today.
All right. So, look, the bottom line of it is the last time we had these conversations, which is a couple of weeks ago, none of us thought Draymond Green was going to get suspended, and he did. In this case, Jokic is overwhelmingly...
They did take into account past behavior in that case. In this case, there is not any significant past behavior.
We'll wait and see.
I hope they don't do that, Greeny. That would sully what is going to be a terrific finish to a strong series.
It would change everything. He had 51 points last night, and they lost, so we will see. That would be McNuts, which leads us to America's favorite new game. It is called Is That McNuts? So if I were to say KD and Booker are going to lead the Suns to the finals, is that McNuts?
It is McNuts because they got to get out of this series first, and then they would need to get by whoever they meet up in the Western Conference Finals. Look, the last 2 games have been terrific, but will that level of performance travel? Frankly, the Nuggets defense did not travel, and they're going home and have home court in this series. So that is a little bit too much. I'm going to go with that one being McNuts.
All right, let me go back to the East. If I said James Harden is the most important Sixer in that series, is that McNuts?
That is not McNuts at all. You mentioned it earlier, Greeny. Games 1, Games 4, the Sixers won. What happens? James Harden goes off. I think he has found a beautiful balance between facilitating and also scoring. And quite frankly, he's been clutch late in the ball games. As Joel Embiid continues to get acclimated to that brace, his performance is going to be hugely important. If the Celtics lose this one, it's already because of Game 1 in my mind.
And then finally, if I were to say the Warriors' defense of their championship is on the line tonight, is that McNuts?
That is McNuts. I think that's a little bit too much, and you got to respect what these multi-time champions and defending champions, candidly, have been able to do. The pendulum swings in this series have just been so significant. Even if the Lakers win tonight, what kind of stamina and what team is going to show up when they return back at Chase Center? I wouldn't count the Warriors out.
We'll see. What we have not seen is a lot of consistency. Frankly, from almost anyone in these playoffs. From Jimmy Butler, Devin Booker, that's about it. Have been the only guys who've really played every single game. That said, we have another touchscreen from Monica. What are the Lakers looking to make happen tonight?
Yeah, and this is a lot of LeBron AD. It's 2 plays LeBron AD, but it is also reminding us of how lethal LeBron is as a facilitator, and when AD is moving, the problems that he poses for this squad. All right. This was in the first quarter. I'm going to freeze it right there. Oh, I missed it. I'm going to freeze it right there. Okay. You missed it, but Jordan Poole gives you the right? He already realizes he's in a bad spot. LeBron is backing him down, ready to take advantage. What happens is LeBron is going to work toward this block. Now check this out. Kevon Looney on this one is guarding Anthony Davis. There's a ton of space between the two of them, and I get it. Kevon Looney is looking here at at LeBron, knowing that he's going to have to help out his guy, Jordan Poole. That's fair, but this is going to draw this guy into the matchup with Anthony Davis, who's going to cut down the gut of the paint. And that, well, quite frankly, another example of mouse and house. So watch what happens when we play this thing. Sure enough, there you go. There's nothing that Steph Curry, as great a shooter as he can do, as he is, there's not much that you're going to say about him defending a guy like AD. So we let this play keep going. AD threw 3 blue jerseys, shows why he has the capability of being a swing player in this ballgame. And then here, I want to go back a little bit, though, because I'm not really sure, we're freezing the corner, why Draymond Green sets up this way on Anthony Davis. He gets on this top side, but essentially he gives up all, wrong button, let me clear that. Essentially, he's going to give up all of this down here for AD to do whatever he needs to do. Austin Reeves is going to come and get inside of Draymond Green and set a really solid screen, but then watch, AD again, operating out of that left corner. He's just moving. You trust LeBron. This is an easy two-pointer where the Warriors just get disconnected defensively. I guess Draymond wanted a little extra on that screen, yada, yada, yada. Doesn't matter. AD gets the bucket.
You know, disconnected is an interesting choice of words. Disinterested is a word that I heard being used a lot. Again, we were in L.A. I was there. I was at the game. And people are looking at each other like, what are we seeing here? I mean, the Warriors, this was kind of what they looked like on the road all year long. But, you know, they're supposed to be flipping a switch right now. And I get it. It's just one night, and they can erase it with a good performance tonight. But if they don't, that was to me, that was a startlingly bad performance on Saturday night.
It looked to me like they basically got into Anthony Davis's face and said, you're being guarded by Draymond Green. He's much smaller than you. Act like it. And that happened. That's why a big thing tonight, will Steve Kerr switch his lineup back, go back to Kevon Looney to try to deal with Anthony Davis. When they went small with Michael Green in Game 2, it really changed the series, and now they wanted to stick with it. So one of the things we've seen Kerr do, he is not afraid to make radical changes throughout his career as this coach. How that happens will be a factor. The other thing I'll say, Greeny, the chess match on how to use and take advantage of Steph Curry has been fascinating. It has been the coaching staff of the Warriors versus the coaching staff of the Lakers doing major differences in that matchup. What comes tonight? Because Curry's getting going or Curry's getting shut down has been the difference maker in so many of these games.
The other thing, though, I would contend, Wendy, the JaMychal Green, Kevon Looney thing is also heavily predicated on the Warriors' ability to hit threes. Like, JaMychal Green was posing a problem because of his ability to connect on the three-point line in Game 2 as opposed to what you saw from Game 3. And so this game in particular, the Warriors did not shoot the ball well. And that is sort of uncharacteristic to who they are, Greeny. So I expect them to shoot the basketball better. But yes, AD just needs to continue to be aggressive. Now, if it's Kevon Looney, or excuse me, if it's JaMychal Green guarding him, he has to guard him at the three-point line.
Here's the thing with Anthony Davis. The swings, you just used the term pendulum swing, which is a phrase that I like. His personal pendulum swings have been ridiculous in this series. It's one thing to have peaks and valleys, but the valley shouldn't be this low. It shouldn't be you're the best player on the floor or you're a complete no-show. He has to give them something tonight, even if he isn't the best player on the floor for the Lakers to win.
Yes, and also, I don't want to, because I'm very cautious about saying anything about LeBron, because then he'll go for 38 tonight. But he has not shown the high-level offense since he's come back from this foot injury.
Right.
So they need AD to be a more offensive force. He has been generally great on the defensive end. They need the offensive force in every game to have a chance.
Yeah, LeBron hasn't scored 30 in a playoff game yet. And look, he suffered a foot injury that in most cases ends someone's season. So the fact that he's out there in and of itself is remarkable. He needs to ride that guy to a huge win tonight. The stakes could not possibly be higher in Hollywood. So the question as we go to Game 4 tonight is, who is going to win? And I will pose that question live.